It's time. It's episode 81 of the ATM podcast. Martin Devlin, Mark Watson with you. We're talking about the Blues. Can they win it all? Do we have to reset the script for the Warriors? Should Tim Southee be going to the T20 World Cup? I do like the teal uniforms. Liverpool, civil war at Anfield. Is Finau and those tackles exactly what the All Blacks need? Amongst other topics.
Apologise to me!
Welcome back, Watto. Let's start with your Blues and winning away at the Reds. They are now top of the table, well a point behind the Hurricanes. I keep asking you every week, mate, can they win it all?
Look, I'm hesitant. I'm nervous to say they can, only because I think they have just come up short for so long now that it's almost become sort of habit. But boy, impressive performance against the Reds. You know, never easy to go and travel over to Australia and play a Reds team, which is very, very good side on paper. And I think they probably would have dropped their heads a few years ago and not gone on and won that game. I thought Caleb Clark made a massive difference coming off the bench. Boy, he looks good this year. Hoskins Atutu playing some of the best rugby I think we've ever seen, and he's clearly got the message. So can they win the whole thing? Look, I think they've got as much chance as the Hurricanes, and I think the team that everybody's still forgetting are the Chiefs. This Chiefs team is not a lot different than what we saw from last year, and pretty much they went, other than the final, they were arguably the best team, and I thought the performance from the Chiefs against the Waratahs was outstanding as well. But look, it also just sort of says too that, the difference between good coaches and great coaches, and you do have to question maybe how good was Leon McDonald really. He's going to be part of this All Black setup going forward. Look, I'd love to see the Blues win it, mate. I really would. But they've got some big games coming up, which will continue to test them. Still won't be easy. Still got to play. Is it the Melbourne Rebels this week?
That's right. Yep.
Melbourne Rebels. They've still got to play the Crusaders team again. We've spoken about the Crusaders. I thought, bringing back Scott Barrett made a big difference. I thought Leo Willie at 8 was superb. I think Ethan Blackadder starting to find his form. David Harvili starts to come back in, and I don't think we should rule the Crusaders out either. But going back to your question, look, I think the Blues have got as much chance of winning it as the Hurricanes and the Chiefs, and I think one of those three teams will win this competition.
Do we need to rewrite the Warriors script after the last three performances, none of which have been convincing?
Oh, look, absolutely. I mean, they're just not as good as they're being made out to be. They were a good side last year. It's a different competition this year. You can only measure it on the number of games played so far. And as we said, I think let's just go back a dozen games, which includes the end of last season. I think the winning record now is around about 33%. We played a Titans team bottom of the table, and we played them at home, and we'd come off the back of a disappointing loss. I expected the Warriors to go out there and make a statement, and all they did was, it was almost a case of deja vu. Started brilliantly, then the moment the Titans put us under any pressure, we just capitulated. Look, I think Andrew Webster's got to have that ability to seriously look at where Roger Tuivasa-Sheck is playing. He's made some statements. He might have backed himself into a corner. Does he have the ability to swallow his pride and make some change there? I think Sean Johnson, we just look one-dimensional on attack, don't we? It's so predictable when we get into the red zone with Sean. It's just kick, or it's sort of run laterally and look for the sort of the little layoff. And I think defences are reading us just too easily. There's just something missing at the moment.
Yeah, it feels like it, doesn't it?
We're not losing badly. We're not getting thrashed. But boy, it's going to need to be turned around very quickly. At some point, it does start to become a bit of a mental block. And at what point do we start to see a little bit of psychological damage? Winning's a habit. Equally, losing, really can also become a habit. Look, you cannot fault the Warriors for their marketing, for what they're doing. As I said last week, I think there's a lot of people out there that want this Warriors team to succeed, maybe just for rugby to wake up and get its shit together. But I'll keep saying that the best form of marketing is ultimately winning, and the tables will start to turn if they genuinely can't start stringing some wins and some performances back to back.
Three really tough games coming up: away Newcastle, away the Roosters, home Penrith, and I feel that 2 out of those 3 have got to be won, because you don't want to be 2 or 3 games below the 500 heading into the halfway point of the season. It is really difficult to you need 13 or 14 wins just to make the 8.
Apologise to me!
Should Tim Southee be going to the T20 World Cup? I love these teal uniforms. They remind me of 1999, is what they're meant to do, the retro look and things. But I look at their bowling lineup and I think, okay, so Ben Sears doesn't go, O'Rourke doesn't go. Is Southee really got the cutting edge that we need? This is, a world tournament, and I think the selectors have to be ruthless, and I don't think that they have been. It's very difficult to call time on anyone's career, and you always sort of think that as an athlete that they want to call time on their own. But Mark, it doesn't wait for anyone, and we saw over the summer that he's lost any express pace he might have had. He's got a few variances in the way that he bowls, all of that kind of stuff, but I just don't know whether or not he's the guy that can lead our bowling attack.
No, he's not. He shouldn't go. The Australians would have cut him by now. We've always been quite conservative with our cricket, and I think we're very conservative under Gary Stead at the moment. Look, he's got a legacy. He's part of that. You've got this whole thing about experience, youthful exuberance versus experience. Some people will say experience is only a supplement for talent, not a substitute, and I'm a little bit like that when it comes to T20 cricket. I think we need something fresh. I think we need something young and dynamic. Tim Southee's not going to win us a T20 cricket game. Tim Southee's probably going to lose us a T20 cricket game. We just haven't seen enough from him. He's not strong enough with the bat either. I remember
he's disappointing with the bat, mate. Don't even start me on his batting. I just find it so frustrating, the fact that he just goes out there and he just wogs at absolutely everything. Never plays for the team. Never knuckles down and tries to actually build an innings. Nothing like that, and he never has. So now don't even start me on the batting, mate.
No, but it's interesting too, because I think, when he first played, I think it was the first test, he might have scored 70 odd against England. I remember that. And I thought, we've got a genuinely good rounder here, all-rounder that can come in and do what Chris Cairns has done and Hadley had done prior to that. And he's just never really shown it. And, there was talk around his captaincy in the recent series here in New Zealand against Australia and some of the decisions that he did make. And, T20 game is fairly fickle. If you're gonna have fast bowlers, they have to be effective. And I just think at the moment he's sort of bowling in no man's land. Look, the Trent Boult selection is also an interesting one. This is a guy who's pretty much a gun for hire now, decides to pick and choose when he wants to play for New Zealand. I'm a little bit down the same lines as Trent Boult. I'm just like, why are you here? You haven't wanted to play for us previously. The money's more important to you now, which you're entitled to do. You've left a legacy. And I just wonder whether it is a time to move on. I mean, I look at that team. Are we going to win the T20 Cricket World Cup? Nah, I don't think so. I just don't think so. I just don't think there is just enough excitement there anymore. I just don't think there's enough X factor. I think, again, we're just going with too much of a level of predictability. And I'm not sure that we got the batting to prop this team up in the face of maybe some weak or tired looking bowling attack.
Apologise to me!